Okay, we're going to practice painting this complementary cube. I used orange and blue, but you can use any of the complementary colors you'd like. When drawing a cube, the big thing to understand is just your angles need to be parallel. So if my vertical line on the left matches my vertical line on the right parallel, it looks great. And then my angles on the top of the cube need to match from front to back, and same with my right side, top and bottom. And then the shadow, just try and mimic what I've done with my angles. It doesn't need to be a big cast shadow. So the right side of my cube is going to be my pure color of the orange. There's no tints or shades. And then I'm going to take the top and have that be a tint lighter, and then the front is going to be where my light source is hitting the strongest, and that's going to be my lightest tint. Now I'm just adding a little bit of water and letting that dry for a minute. Of course, this is on a faster speed, so you don't want to have that edge and worry about bleeding. So if you just take a minute to let that dry, or sometimes I'll fan my paper, make sure that those edges get nice and crisp when you're painting anything geometrical. And so sometimes it helps to use a ruler to draw with. And now I've let that side dry about halfway, and I'm going to add some blue so that I create a shadow on my darkest edge. You can let that fully dry, and so you don't get splotches, but I kind of like that little bit of transparency of blue showing through in areas a little bit more than others. And then I'm taking that, again, that strong orange hue. It's probably a little bit darker than my original right side of my cube, and I want that to be nice and dense with the color of orange. I'm going to let that sit and dry for a minute, so I'm just doing a fun graded wash below, so I have half orange, half blue, and I want them to bleed into each other so that you have wet on wet. And then I just dab my paintbrush off, clean it, and then you saw I kind of went back and forth between the orange and the blue. And now I'm introducing the blue on top of the orange. It is wet, but not so much water that it bleeds too much, and I get that orange coming through underneath with the layer. You can let it fully dry as well. Notice how I'm dipping my paintbrush in the water and tapping it on the paper towel so that I can add another layer of orange and blue on the sides. But now I'm just fully rinsing my paintbrush, and then I'm going to take in between the wash and just blend that. Now this is just my tint of the orange, and it's barely a tint there. I like that to not be a flat white, but once it's dried, those colors really come through nicely. You can also build up layers if you're not happy with the contrast.